The next group of people I would like to welcome on stage are the PSF security engineers. And Seth Larson and Mike Fiedler are here right now, and they will explain more about it. Please welcome Seth and Mike.
All right. Good morning, PyCon. Yeah. All right. It's day 3, 4, 5, depending on how you're counting. We're here. Thank you very much for sticking around and listening to the wonderful keynotes prior and spending some time with us. This here is Seth Larson, developer in residence.
Hey, everybody. Thank you, Mike. So I'm Seth Larson, security developer in residence at the PSF. My role was sponsored by Alpha Omega. And my job is primarily for looking over the entire Python ecosystem, which includes all of you. It's quite a large scope of a role. But what I've been focusing on is supply chain security. So that's making sure that whatever the intent of the developers that are creating software ends up being what ends up running in your machine. And my role is really unique because I don't have a whole lot of super specific deliverables, like these are the exact things that you need to be doing. I get a lot of autonomy in my role to decide what is really important at the forefront of security for software. And so a lot of times I talk about taming the alphabet soup, where I go out into all the different security communities and decide, okay, what am I going to bring back? What am I going to be able to teach all of the teams that are writing Python, maintaining pip, and writing their own packages? And so that's incredible because I get to collaborate with all these different communities, but I also get to collaborate with other software communities like Ruby, Homebrew, Rust. I get to talk to all the people that are in very similar roles across other ecosystems. And so what I've been focusing on this year has been a lot of things specific to CPython. So like the Python security response team, responding to vulnerabilities, like setting up CVE numbering authority infrastructure so we can manage our own vulnerability data, and making sure that all of the different facilities that end up being consumed by all of you are reliable and contain correct information. And I'm also joined by Mike Fiedler, the PyPI safety and security engineer, in helping divide up this problem space into more than just Seth solve all of our security problems. Mike Fiedler.
Of course. Thanks, Seth. My name is Mike Fiedler. I am the PyPI safety and security engineer. I work at the Python Software Foundation, the PSF, as does Seth, and as do many of the conference organizers and staff, as well as supporting all of the efforts that the PSF does worldwide. My role is sponsored by Amazon Web Services, thank you AWS, and we both joined the PSF last year. So both of these roles are very new, and we're kind of excited about the things that we've done in that interim. For those unfamiliar, pypi.org is where you pip install from, and we host over 500,000 packages. We have over 800,000 users. We have over 10 million releases of those projects and packages, and we get about 50,000 requests per second on average all day long. People are using this service a lot. The reason AWS funded this role is they recognize that this service, which has been in existence in some form or another for about 20 years, that it serves this Python community and everyone who uses Python tangentially in every which way. And if it doesn't have dedicated security focus, the efforts were being done by volunteers, and very often the volunteers have great intentions but have limited time, and there's nobody to pick up the phone when something goes sideways. Late last year, we got funding from the Open Technology Fund to perform a security audit of PyPI, the first time in its existence. And you can read all about we've open sourced the report, all the findings, and all the remediation steps we've taken in a 3-part blog series on blog.pypi.org. I'm very happy to say that we had no critical findings. As I mentioned, it gets used a lot. And while there are lots of very popular packages that are kind of the bread and butter, the standards that many different communities will use, I couldn't even rattle them off if I wanted to, there's a lot of potential for others to upload stuff that you don't want to download, such as malware, malicious software that's intended to do you some sort of harm in any fashion. One of the most common things we've seen in the last 3 months is Discord credential stealing. And the way they proliferate this is they go onto the Python Discord, which a lot of people are on, and asking for help, and say, oh, this will solve your problem, pip install this package. And then that package they know you're using Discord because they communicated with you on it. It'll download, it'll find your keys, and then exfiltrate those and upload those to their server, and then they can take over your Discord account. How terrible is that? That sucks. So we work with a community of security researchers who spend time evaluating every single Python package that's uploaded to see if their signals are being tripped. And then they report that back to me. I'm only one person, there are many of them. And up until this role existed, the admins, the volunteer admins, would do their best effort to respond. And it was all transactional email. We've since developed an integration API in private beta with the security researchers, so that way they can use their structured systems to make decisions, send those kind of signals to us, and then we take that structured data, funnel it back into PyPI and say, oh yeah, that's really bad, get out of here. Oh, thank you. This is the early days of all of this. We've engaged with a lot of these people at different levels, at different commitment times, because again, they have their own goals, they have their own jobs, etc. We also take in and process all of these different requests and evaluate and make decisions. And a lot of it is hard, and that's what I've been working on to kind of bring these ideas to the forefront so that way we can protect the community as best we can while maintaining a low-friction, easy-to-use service. I'm also a volunteer roller derby referee. Roller derby is cool. Check it out. I've been doing that for 17 years, and it could use some Python help.
I love it.
Yeah.
So just a really brief thing on what's actually coming next for at least for my role is I'll be switching my focus from more of the C, Python, and pip side to all of you lovely people and all of the other lovely maintainers of Python packages, focusing on places like tooling and workflows so that those places are secure against supply chain attacks. They'll be adopting security practices that I've learned from adopting them in C, Python, and pip. And then the word for security, supply chain security, is provenance. I'm working with a bunch of individuals on making it so that provenance for Python packages, which is a way to tie source code and origin back to artifacts so that you can actually observe that and make policy against that, is on the forefront. So that's me.
And I'll be continuing to evaluate and update and improve our malware response activities so that way we can minimize the time that any package out there that we have some confirmed signals has time to proliferate. The further we can reduce that, the further we disincentivize those attackers from trying to abuse the system. I'll also be working on account management. This is an area that has gone under-evaluated. It's not the best today, and we'd love to improve that for you. And then finally, another kind of item in my backlog is API-driven actions. We don't have a great story for that today. We'd like to have that so that way companies, teams, organizations that have lots of users, lots of packages, and lots of internal processes to manage their kind of accounts, their users, their roles, have a better way to do that today.
So our roles really can't work at all. I am not your boss. I am not any of the bosses of like the Python package maintainers. None of it could really work if there wasn't some community trust, if there wasn't like belief that what we're doing is the right thing. So I wanted to say thank you for believing in us and for trusting us and for like adopting all of the things that we recommend and help with. So what we have here are 2 QR codes. These are the best places if you want to get involved in security or just start learning more, or if your company is trying to figure out how can we improve our security posture when we're interacting with the Python ecosystem. These 2 QR codes are excellent to a starting point. So the Python Software Foundation blog, that's where all of the large projects like new hires or initiatives, especially on the policy level, they will all get posted there. And then on the right side, the QR code is for the Python Package Index blog. That's where things like trusted publishers, published provenance, 2FA, new requirements, malware, all of these projects will be updated. So give those 2 a follow.
So while those are up there, and if you want to take a look at them, Seth, what would you say is something that anybody out there using Python today really needs to know about Python security?
Yeah, so something to know about Python security, I highly recommend looking into the security features of the packaging tools that you're using. So things like pip, poetry, pip tools, there's a whole bunch of different options. All of these tools have options to make it so that when you're interacting with the Python package index, you're getting the most secure experience possible. I'm obviously going to be working on making sure that that experience is the default experience. But for now, I think that there are some optional things to make sure that you are using to make sure that your company, your organization, and yourself are secure when you're interacting with Python.
Thanks. That's awesome.
And Mike, what have been some of the most rewarding, most challenging bits? Give me some perspective from yourself personally on your work.
Yeah, one of the most interesting parts has been seeing the adoption curve of the Trusted Publishers feature. And for those unfamiliar, if you are a Python package maintainer, historically you would use a username and password to upload to the package index. Then we introduced API tokens, so that way you don't have to use your username and password, you delegate that to the token. And Trusted Publishers goes one step further to remove the need of the token to be on your computer at all by delegating access to a provider like GitHub Actions or GitLab or ActiveState or Google Compute Build, Google Cloud Build. Yes, that's what GCB stands for. So that way, those services have been permissioned by you to upload your project, and they get a short-lived 5-minute token, and thus we minimize the potential for any kind of token exposure and then any kind of bad things happening as a result. We have now over 11,000 projects that are using Trusted Publishers, and that number just keeps going up. So check it out. Thank you for trying it out and using it.
Yeah, I wanted to comment on how incredible it is to have full-time staffing for security, because I think that a lot of people, when they are interacting with any sort of software ecosystem, almost assume that security is a default. It's already baked in, it's just how it is, right? But security is not a static thing. It is ever evolving. I mean, we saw 2 notable attacks that I remember in the very forefront of my mind because I had to respond to both of them in XCUtils and libwebp. With XCUtils, CPython actually does use XZ. And it was a Friday, because it always is. And I received a really, really fun email on the security response team, hey, you should check out this OpenWall post. And being able to mount a response and have the time already allocated to me to be able to go out and do this discovery work, go out and figure out that our community is safe, and then get the message out as soon as possible. And I remember that the message had gone out, and one of the core developers in the Python Security Response channel said, I'm assuming that you responded this already, and if anything's bad, I'll probably have heard about it. And so that means a lot to me that the people are trusting that I'm around to respond, and that it's not falling on volunteers taking time after work to respond to like supply chain attacks from nation states. So that's great.
Yeah. I do want to just close with one bit. Both Seth and I are standing on the shoulders of giants. We are able to do this work based on all of the work that everyone has done before us, and we get to stand on top of all of that and stand up here and tell you about it. This is now our role, is to take that message, take those initiatives, and carry them further than volunteers could do in the short amount of time that they were putting in. And now we get to do that in a more focused manner, in a more consistent manner, and thank you all for supporting us.
Thank you. All right, thank you. Thank you again, Seth and Mike, for doing this really important work for the Python community. All right, now it's time to enjoy PyCon US 2024 version 2. Thank you, everybody.